So finally, the calendar program, which is quite interesting. It has three parts, which are quite similar in each of them. It has three parts, which are quite similar: calendar 0, calendar 1, and calendar. Now, we start with calendar 0. So what does it want? It wants us to let the user know if a program, if a year is a leap year or a common year. And you can know that from lecture 1. There you go. Lecture 1. This is why I say it's very nice and convenient to have your lectures open. So let's go there. It says lecture 1, 2. So lecture 1, 2. Let's search for leap year. And there it is. A leap year is a leap year if it is divisible by 400 or divisible by 400 but not 100. So we just create that function. Simple. Now first, again, I'm going to remove all this gibberish. Actually, this one is quite useful. So I'm going to keep it. And there we have it. So, is a year a leap year? Let's return the truth value, right? So, the truth value is if the year is divisible by 400, or if it's divisible by 400 but not 100. So this thing and this thing, year divisible by 4 and year divisible by 100. Sorry, not divisible by 100. So it's not 0. So this will return the truth value of all of this. I don't have to explain the logic on this one. It's just from the lecture, so it's obvious. But again, let's test the program part by part, not everything all at once. So where's the print function? Right here. Let's comment this one out so that we just run the leap year test. Okay, so okay. Let's test, okay, like this 2020. There you go, true. 1900. False. 2028. True. Sorry, 2028. There you go. So first part is done. So the rest is quite simple. In this code, you want to print, first of all, if the year is a common or a leap year. So you print this line, and then you will have a loop function which will print each month from 1 to 12, of course, and its number of days. Now, the number of days will require you to observe several cases. If it's leap year, then the Februaries will have 29 instead of 28 days. And if it's April, June, September, or November, those months will have 30 days. And the rest will just have 31. So you can use a bunch of if else, if else, if else, if else, but that's not concise or elegant. So what they advise you to do is to use a switch function somewhere in this question. There you go. proposed to using a switch function, right? So we will use a switch function. A switch function is like if else, but it's just more concise, and it observes case by case. So let's work on the days in month function. First of all, I'm going to remove the return function because we're going to return depending on the month. So switch the month, which is like 1 to 12. And in the case of February, right, it requires an additional logic. If the year is a leap year, right, return 29. Otherwise, return 28. Simple. In the case of April, June, September, November, which is April, June, September, November, return 30 days, right? So 30. And for everything else, which in switch function is expressed by default, we have just 31 days, as mentioned here. So there you have it. That's the switch function, short and elegant. It switches the number of days of the month of a particular month of a particular year. So there you have it. The number of days in a month function, which returns the number of days in a particular month in a particular year. Okay? And it switches in every case elegantly. So we're done. We can remove this gibberish now. And so this guy will call this guy. And now the days in month test is just to print these lines from month 1 to 12. So you guessed it, for function. Very simple. And finally we call it. So let's see what works. We have to put the month, the year. There you go. Beautiful. 31, start from 31, 28, 31, 30, 31, 31, 30, 30. Perfect. So that's it. We're done. Let's test one more time with 2020. Make sure all of this is the same with all of this. Okay, so let's move on to calendar 1. Now, we copy the functions that we have done before. Days in month and leap year. Days in month and leap year. Boom. We don't have to write it twice. Now, remove the gibberish that we don't need. And then I will explain the logic. So we'll keep this one just to know that we're going from 1/1/1900 till 31/12/1999. Okay. This is also useful, so I will keep it there. Now, let's remove this error notification. So basically, this debug counter is so that you don't have to print the whole 36,000 at once when you want to debug. So if debug $500, for example, then we break. And I'm just going to make this one line to make it smaller. If our counter for debugging is 500, then we'll break, or 50, whatever, doesn't really matter, okay? Well, the condition for this is we're going till the year 1999. So, while our counter is still below 2000, which is 1999. And what is the counter? The year, right? We keep doing this function, which prints each day of the year until the year 1999, which is just less than 2000, okay? So the advanced function is the function that runs, from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 to day 4. And this is an interesting function because notice we cannot just add 1 all the time. Days have cycles. Month is 30 or 31 days or 29 or 28. And weeks are 7 days and years are 12 months. So you cannot just add 1 all the time. But let's start with the simplest logic, which is when we advance 1 day, day of the month will be added by 1. Same thing with day of the week, right? They're just days. You add 1. Now, if day of the week reaches 7 or above, it reaches 8, right? Then you want to reset it. I can actually make it 1 line. Day of the week become 1 again. Okay? Now, the days of the month changes depending on the month and the year. So we have to define it again and again. If the month is this function, we call it every time. This is month. Okay, so we call this function, we give it the month and the year that we are in, and then we get the number of days in a month as a integer. Then, if the day of the month is already greater than the number of days in the month, meaning we have finished the month, okay, we have finished counting through all the days of the month, either at 30, 28, 29, or 31, right? We can reset it back. So day of the month becomes 1. If we reach 12 months or 13, because we have a counter, and if it's beyond 12, reset the month. And the year is added because we have finished a whole 12 months. So this is the advanced function. I think I'm going a bit too fast because not all of this is obvious, but the logic is that you have to build it pace by pace and just build it slowly, right? Don't try to define everything all at once like I did before. The steps is write what is obvious, what is pretty much clear. To advance to the next day, you have to increment the days. And we have 2 counters. And if the week will become 7 and we have completed 1 whole week, then we can reset the day of the week. Why is this useful? Because we need to know if we are on a Sunday, right? Day of the week equals to 1 is basically Sunday. Now, going to the main function. Let's clear this one now, remove any other gibberish. What you need to do is to create a counter where Sunday is the first day, because that's what they ask, right? They want to know the amount of Sundays, which is the first day of the month. So you guessed it, if the day of the week is 1, then the day of the month is also 1. Then we can increment the Sunday is the first day of the month counter. We haven't defined that, so let's create it real quick. Sunday, first day. Sunday first day equals 0. Okay, now Sunday first day increment. Okay. So while the year is not yet 2000, we keep advancing. But what do we do while we advance? We have to print some stuff. Okay. So we print these guys. So let's create it real quick. System. Sorry. You have to use double quotations because it's a string. Here's the month and then one. Just gonna copy this. And the year. But notice if it's Sunday, you have to print the sentence, the word Sunday. So if a week is 1, meaning we're on a Sunday, we print something else. Otherwise, you just print normal. And the something else is just with a additional Sunday, like that. There you go. And then finally, when all of this is done, you can print this guy. Okay, and take this one out because it's a variable. And replace it with the counter. Sunday first day, right? There you go. So there you have it. Let's see if it works. Notice I forget to add the month to increment, so I'm going to add it now. And let's make everything much more nice. There you go. As you can see here, the month is not incrementing from 31 back to 1. So now it should work. There you go. And it's not printing a whole lot because I have this debug counter. If I comment it out, it will go on until we finish the whole counter until the year 1999. Boom, 1999. And yep, we have, why is it 0? Let's see what's wrong. Because I haven't put this thing inside the while loop. So the increment must be inside the while loop. And now it works. 172. 172. We're done. Now, finally, the calendar .java, which we have to create, right? So I'm just going to copy this guy and make it that. Let's work on this, rename it. Remove this guy because we don't need it anymore. There's no debugging to be done. We're quite familiar with the program already. And now we can input the number, the year. So int year in equals to integer. Okay. So now 2000 is here in. And by the way, we're not printing everything. We just want to print the whole year, not the whole decade or whatever. Not from 1990 till not printing from 1900 to 1999. We're just printing the year that we want. So all of this. And by the way, we can remove the Sunday first day because we don't count that anymore. And all of this is the print function. But now we only print if year is the year that we input. Then we print. Make it nice. Wow, we have to include our year input, of course. There you go. 31/12/2021. We have it here as well. And yeah, it looks good. So that's it. That's the whole thing. As you can see, it's not as confusing as you might realize. It's just too much text, man. This whole thing is explaining it too much. So it confuses people, but really the code is quite simple. And if you have any questions, just WhatsApp me or comment in the video. I'm just making this for the few people who asked me, but maybe if someone else who also need it, but they watch this video, then they can also comment and I will answer. And that's it. Okay, good luck.